Hello YouTube, this is part 3 of Apology, Clarification, and Justification. This one is to Thunderbolt 94. Um, I'm not going to splice your video into my video. I'm going to link this video to your video because it would take a lot longer to do that, and I actually want to get this video out really quick because you just made another video. And I just watched your video. So I'm going to summarize your points, and since this video is linked to that video, it'll be in context because they can watch your video. In fact, I encourage them to watch your video first. Okay, here we go. First, you talk about my Way of the Master reference. You go on to say that most Christians don't take him seriously. I know that. And you also talk about, well, let's talk about that first thing first. I know. My statement was most people don't consider that the definition of lying, that is, one who lies once, unless they're absolutist or taking a page from Way of the Master. I said something to that degree. I was actually just referring to people who do that. I wasn't suggesting that most Christians do that. I said most people don't do that unless they're either atheist and like absolutist, you know, you lied once, you're a liar, or they're Christian, Protestant or otherwise, and they use Way of the Master as an example. That is, you get what I'm saying. I was just referencing to people who do that. Second of all, you start to go into how you're Catholic and how would you use why would you use a Protestant argument. Okay, number one, I said unless you did those things. I didn't accuse you of doing those things. In fact, I'm pretty sure I just pointed out your flaw. I know, how do I say this? I didn't say that with the assumption that you actually do believe that. I say that with the assumption that you made a mistake in your comment. I didn't call him a liar. I said in that specific instance he was lying. I don't really think you follow Way of the Master. That was just an example. Second of all, why would you use a Protestant? I don't care. I don't care who you are. I didn't know you were Catholic. Oh yeah, I did. I looked on your page. Again, don't care. I didn't say that as an attack against your like, dude, I don't care who you are. I don't care what type of argument you would use. Again, if you look at the statement, I didn't say it as in you're using Way of the Master. No, I said either you're an absolutist, not you, someone who uses, someone who says, you said it, is all I'm saying. You said, I said he was lying, therefore he's a liar. You give an explanation for that. I didn't know that. All I knew is the only two types of people I know who do that are absolutists and people who, you know, Way of the Master crap. I don't care if you're Catholic. Like, I don't even want to know that. That's not my business. I didn't accuse you of using a Protestant argument because I don't care about you. I'm not trying to be insulting. But I really didn't. No arguments here. I agree. I mean, I believe you're Catholic. I was saying that you were just throwing out a point as an argument. Like I said, I didn't say he was a liar, and you wanted to defend yourself, so you threw out, you just threw out, well, you said he was lying, therefore he's a liar. I think you were doing what most people do in an argument, just saying the opposite. Again, don't care if you're Catholic, wasn't accusing you of making a Protestant argument. I was saying you were wrong. Oh yeah, and I wasn't going to apologize to you, but Rational Roundtable sent me a PM. You need to understand something. You didn't show your face in the first video. I thought you were that old guy showing me what you thought I sounded like. And it was just unnecessarily vile, and, you know, you used that guy, so surely you know the level of hatred that was emanating off of him, and I returned that hatred. I thought that was you. maybe next time put an annotation or a picture of you or something. Because I was dealing with like 3 videos at once. I didn't have time to look you up. Um, so if I was more insulting than I meant to be, I apologize. The person you showed in that video was vile, and I thought that vile person was you. Uh, um, Again, I apologize, but next time, make sure the person knows who you are before you put someone else's before you put someone else's face in in your video. Because I thought you were mocking me, showing me what you thought I sounded like, but I thought you were that guy. So sorry if I would, if you had made a video like you just made right now, without the sort of like propaganda-ish words, like look at him and look at, I don't know, you could have used Hitler, you could have used anyone, just the way you did it was, if you would have just calmly pointed out the arguments you thought were wrong. I know, talking about calmly, but to be honest, I got incredibly mad when I saw your video because I didn't think it was fair. But again, you didn't make a video response to me. You spliced words with someone else's face who was just a vile looking human being to me, just the way he spoke. I thought that was you. My bad. Again, I don't think you're a fucktard. I think that guy in the video is a fucktard, but I didn't know that wasn't you. Alright, on to the next part. You then go on to say, you disagree with Rational Roundtable in accepting my explanation, but your reasoning, strangely enough, is exactly what I was trying to say. In that context, that person is lying. You say you're in a courtroom, and they ask you what happens, and you decide to lie. Okay. What if you're a mother whose son got shot, and just like it always happens, a gang member is on the stand, and they do what they do. They have a bunch of other gang members in there, because you're allowed to have people with you in the, I don't want to say audience, the chambers, and they all stand like this, staring at the witness stand. It's called intimidating the witness. And unless you say something, that is, unless they say something to the witness, you can't prove that they're intimidating the witness. People have the right to face their accusers. So the person who's gotten away with killing many times oftentimes stares down the witness. And oftentimes on the stand, they lie. Tell me something. Is that person a liar? Would you describe that person as a liar? No. In that specific instance, they are lying. You may hold the position that that makes them a liar. That is, in my opinion, absolutism. I think in that situation they are lying. For instance, the gangster who's staring her down, I would consider a liar. I'm sure he lies very often for very nefarious purposes. He would be a liar, a disgusting ingrate, and a coward. He's evil. He's killing people's kids, and well, that's beside the point. The point is, you probably don't want to use that example because every person who was ever intimidated, every child who was scared to admit that their father molested them and changed their mind on the witness stand, every wife who didn't want to send their husband to jail because he was beating her and changed her mind, and he ends up going home and ends up killing her. Now they're all liars by your logic. Again, I'm not saying you believe they're liars. I'm saying that is where your logic, that is the logical conclusion to your statement. It's just not a good argument. So yeah, funny, I agree with you. In that situation, they are lying. You can't say in that situation they are a liar, because that's not what the word means. The word is, you can't be a liar in anthropology. You can lie about something in anthropology, but a liar is a word we use as in that person's a liar. But this is a semantic argument. The whole thing was a semantic argument. Ironically, this whole thing is like a giant semantic argument. At least 50% of it is. Saying that I'm nitpicking and it really surprises you that you have to explain this to me. I feel exactly the same about you. You technically called him a no. You know, no, okay? I don't think he's a liar. I wasn't trying to say that in that video. You're calling me nitpicking and you're like, in this specific incident. Isn't that nitpicking? I was with you until you threw the condescending bullshit at the end. And I'm surprised we have to explain this to you. Now, again, I was rude to you in the last video, because I didn't know who you were. I thought you were that other guy. Rational Roundtable actually PM'd me and cleared that up. Had he not done that, this would be not nearly as angry as the other videos. I learned my lesson, but this would be a much angrier video. But, yeah, you don't need to do that. Especially when you're doing exactly the same thing you're accusing me of. Come on, man. Okay, this is where things get fun. Now we're actually getting to a real debate instead of a pissing contest. The thing you just said, you said we're not talking about the natural world, we're talking about the supernatural world. That is called the non-overlapping magisterium argument. Basically, you claim that the natural world and the supernatural world, that you need different types of evidence for both. I know, right there, as I said that, I know that's one thing you're going to say, no, I didn't. I don't know how to say what you're saying. Look up the non-overlapping magisterium argument. And don't nitpick that last statement, because I can't. Basically, you're saying you can't just use natural standards for something supernatural. You can't compare a cheese car to God. Problem. The moment you claim that God in any way has affected the physical world ever, you are making an empirical claim about the universe. All empirical claims about the universe fall into the category of science. All claims that are not physical, that are ideas or concepts, most of them anyway, fall into the field of philosophy. Science is the process of testing claims against nature. You take a claim and you see if it corresponds with nature by experimenting. Either looking back forensically or looking forward empirically. Philosophy is the process of testing ideas against logic. Someone tells you an idea and you think it through vigorously. The argument of non-overlapping magisterium is an argument I find particularly irritating and particularly intellectually dishonest. However, I actually don't think the Christians using it are dishonest in this particular instance, because it is so easy to fall into. It's like a logic trap. I actually don't blame you for this, because I can understand where you come to this conclusion. Here's the problem. I don't think you believe that. Christians talk about the non-overlapping magisterium until there is evidence to support the Bible. What if tomorrow we found the Ark of the Covenant or the lost Ark of Noah? What are the odds that you would say, well, that's natural evidence, that's, wood, carbon dating, radiometric dating, Ark of the Covenant, that's all physical, natural evidence. It's like, that's great that you have it, but I'm not going to really consider it. The magisteriums are non-overlapping. That's a natural thing, and we're talking about supernatural things. So you shouldn't even take it into no. You would jump on it. All Christians would jump on it. It would be a cluster. It would be crazy if there was any verifiable, like the Shroud of Turin. If it actually did what they claimed it did, and you placed it on another cloth and it transposed Jesus' image, that was some of the myths in the beginning, or if it had carbon dated to 2,000 years ago, do you really think the priest would be like, well, natural evidence is, that's a natural issue. I don't know how to say it, but Dawkins and many other atheists covered the non-overlapping magisterium argument. And here's the thing: with other arguments, I can accept that the Christian. This is a very weird argument because I know the Christian means it, but the argument is inherently flawed, and so obviously flawed and immediately ignored by the Christian the moment you think that there is evidence for the Bible, for your religion. It's just inconsistent. You will drop the non-magisterium argument in a second if there was any data to support religion. If you wouldn't, you and I are going to have a talk about that, because that'll be a different debate. I'm assuming you would. If you wouldn't, tell me and we could have a debate about that, because that is a bold claim, claiming that the natural world and the supernatural world are separate. Also, you accused me of begging the question later in the video. Don't you think that's begging the question? Natural evidence is not the same as supernatural evidence. You cannot say that. That is making an empirical claim about what the supernatural is. That's called begging the question, because you haven't established that the supernatural exists. That's like people saying, well, God is timeless. You cannot attribute aspects to God unless you've shown, either through philosophy or through science, that he exists. Otherwise, you are begging the question. So your first statement right there, totally wrong. You're begging the question, and you're making the non-overlapping magisterium argument, which is just plain wrong. I'm sorry. I don't think you're being dishonest, because most Christians don't realize that part. Because again, it's such an easy argument to fall into. But the begging the question thing, you should know better about that. I'm not being condescending. I'm just saying it doesn't make any. I'd like to go through the rest of your points, but pretty much the rest of your points are just extrapolating on those last things you said. Well, no. Let me finish the other thing I was saying. You say, oh, here's the thing. You say we're talking about what caused the universe, if the universe had a cause. Problem. One, if you're talking about the universe is physical. That falls into the realm of science. It is not supernatural. In fact, if the universe was supernatural, the universe kind of means all there is, unless you believe in a multiverse. You're basically saying everything is supernatural. If talking about how the universe came to be, and a sentence before that you said we're talking about the universe. Oh crap. Now everything's supernatural. The universe means all there is. Can we have some natural stuff? Can you leave some stuff for us? You know what I mean? I'm not a scientist, but speaking for scientists, we scientists would like something to study. I mean, you've just made everything supernatural. You said, we're talking about the universe. We're talking about whether the universe had a cause, if it had a cause, and what caused it. None of that is supernatural. As for the Kalam argument, the Kalam cosmological argument, the best refutation and the best actual positive argument against God was by theoretical bullshit. It was also expanded upon by Das American Atheists. We have the Kalam argument is everything that had this is a paraphrasing of it because there's a bunch of argument. Everything that had a beginning had a cause. The universe had a cause. The universe had to have a beginning. The beginning had to be outside of time and space. God is outside of time and space. Therefore, God created the universe, and God has to exist. Problem. Premise 1. Everything that came into existence, or everything that began, had a cause. Yeah, see, we've never seen anything begin. We have only seen things come into existence ex materia. That is, two things or many things came together, reconfigured their matter and energy to make a new thing. That thing is still the same matter and energy. It didn't come into existence. We're calling it something different. Even me. Basically, trillions of cells that happen to have Y chromosomes and trillions of cells that happen to have X chromosomes used a massive amount of resources to make one little zygote that then continuously sapped my mother's resources to multiply, divide. No magic, no new energy, simply a reconfiguration of what was already there. Second problem. Anything that was caused has to have something like that. Problem. In order for anything to be created, you have to have the creator, what they're acting on, and the thing that was created. For instance, if I want to make a table, you have me, you have pre-table materials, wood, steel, whatever, and you have the table, the creation. Unless you're going to posit the idea that there was pre-universe material floating around that God made into the universe, then you're missing a step, okay? Second, everything that had every effect had to have something that caused that effect. Again, you have the effector, the affected, and the effect. We have the effector, God, blank, and then the effect. What is he acting on to create the universe? What did he affect to create the effect, which is the universe? Now, I know what you might say. You might say he acted on his imagination, or he thought it into existence. Problem. Thinking is an action, not a noun. Or not a... a noun. It's not an object. When I'm thinking, for instance, that is not... There's not a physical thing in my mind. Like, I just thought of a castle. There's not a castle in my mind. I just thought of a castle again. It was almost identical, but it is completely different. Why? Because that castle was a result of the reactions of neurons and synapse. It was an event. Can you act on a car accident? You cannot, because a car accident is an event. There's a difference between, let's say one car is neurons, the other car is synapses. The crashing of that is the effect. The effect is a thought. It's not a thing. You can't act on a thought to create the universe, because it's not a thing. It's the action that may be how he created the universe. He thought of it. Or lightning. You know what electricity is. You know what the atmosphere is. Lightning is an event. You can't hold lightning. You can hold electricity, but that is not lightning. Lightning is an occurrence. You can't act on lightning. It's an event. Okay, this kind of ran a little long, but nothing created the universe, because creation ex nihilo is impossible by definition. And you can't say... You have to show that creation ex nihilo is even possible before we can even begin to talk about whether the universe was created or not. We need to know whether it's possible to create a universe. Oh, and by the way, before you say the Big Bang shows, now I don't know if you're going to say this, but in case you were going to say the Big Bang shows that the universe was created, that there was a beginning, no, it doesn't. The theory of special relativity, I believe it's either general or special relativity, showed us that time is relative. Not our perception of time. Time is actually relative. The faster you move, basically, we don't have time and we don't have space. We have something called time-space. T01, or moment 01, is the beginning of time. There was the singularity. The very first thing that happened as it started, well, you can't even say it started to expand. All you can say is T01. Then the universe expanded. You needed time, moment 1, then the universe expanded. You can't have anything outside time causing the universe, unless it's in another universe, maybe, that has time. Why? Because if something is timeless, in order to decide to do something, you need an instance before you decided to do something, during your doing of that thing, and afterwards. You have to be able to change states. If you're outside of time, you can't change states, because there has to be a moment before you change states and after. You are constantly in every state forever and never, because there's no time. I'm not saying that that means there is no God. What I'm saying is that that means God as you defined him is either impossible or incoherent. It just doesn't work. You're going to have to provide more evidence, or at least philosophical logic. Or you need to show an argument as to how this could have happened before we even start to talk about whether the universe was created or not. It's a non-starter. Okay, now to get to your argument about me. Before I do that, I'm going to talk about the straw manning thing and the thing I said that was unfair. I also called you a fucktard and a cheese dick. I apologize for that. Again, the images you showed me was of a very hateful looking person. I had never seen you before. I thought that was you. I was responding to someone who seemed arrogant and vile, and that brought out in me an intense amount of rage. Surely you can understand that. I said, I'm not surprised you strawmanned me because you're Christian. I stand by that, but not because of you. The only reason I stand by that is I've been watching, when I watch a debate between atheists and Christians, I watch both sides. I spend out. YouTube is what I do most of the time. I mean, I've been on YouTube in this debate way before I made videos. And in the debate, the Christian, at least the more popular ones, I mean, you have to realize that your rationalist community of Christians is relatively new compared to the rational atheist community and the irrational Christian community, like your Shock of Gods and your Venom Feign X's and your my mind went blank, but you know what I'm saying. The big name, Nephilim Free, Together for Peace. He's not as bad, but I wouldn't call him a rationalist by any stretch of the imagination. Now, does that say anything bad about your community or about Christians? No. It does say that the most vocal Christians are the least rational ones. And I don't see that with atheism. I can't say atheism. With the scientific, philosophical, or the debate, the thing. You got Aaron Raw, you got DPR Jones, you got Don Exodus, you got... These are all great, Grappling Ignorance, you know, these are all great people to talk to. They're not dishonest. They don't have that creepy stare. I'm not saying Christians have that stare. You most definitely do not. But if you look at the crazier, like the Nephilim Free and the Together for Peace. They kind of have this thing going on. The things that atheists will tell you are bloody blah blah blah. Bloody blah. Blink! For the love of God, blink! Please blink! You are crazy looking! Okay, I'm sorry, that's a ad hominem attack, but it's a true ad hominem attack. Look at their videos, they are creepy. You are not. You are not. You are actually you are a fine young man. No, you seem like a reasonable person. Again, I really, really wish you had showed your face or talked to me directly instead of making sort of a mocking text video with someone I thought was you. That would have been great if I would have, you know, I have a feeling I looked more like an asshole than I meant to because, so yeah, let's get that out of the way. I apologize for the insults. And I apologize for insinuating that you're wrong because you're a Christian. Well, not about the atheist-theist debate. I do believe you're wrong in that regard, but by definition, we believe each other are wrong. That's why you hold your position and I hold mine. There's nothing wrong with that. What was the third thing I apologize for? I don't remember, but yeah. I actually hope we could come to an agreement. Because actually talking to you now, you don't seem like that bad of a person. Again, I really disliked your video. I don't like when people don't show their face and when they do that text thing, and that's something you usually save for after you've been debating with someone for a long time and you can see that they're a complete wall. Then you make a video like that, like Nephilim Free or, you know, people like that. I always try to be calm first, unless, you know. But again, this was a whole shitstorm of crazy crap. But I don't regret it. It was a learning experience. All right, now to the now to the domain of rationality thing. All right. This is where I still flat out agree with you. I'm sorry. That's not a Freudian slip. This is where I flat out disagree with you. And I know you're bound to disagree with me because obviously you believe you're right. Unfortunately, you equate our two positions as if they're the same, as if we both came to our decisions in the same way. I think you need to look at some of the things you said to give you a clue about your stake in this argument. You say you trust in the authority of the Pope. You talk about the impact Christianity has had on your life in one of your sentences. You say it's 50%, it only shows 50% of who you are. This defines you to the point that well, that's beside the point. Let's talk about the rationality thing. I believe that I have come to my conclusion based entirely on empirical data. You believe there are things beyond empirical data. I believe I can debunk those things with empirical data. Does that mean that basically what I believe is that I can show that those things are not beyond empirical data. I don't believe in a supernatural. You say there are atheists who believe in ghosts. I agree. You seem to think that I was saying that all atheists are rational. Not once did I say that. You seem to think that I believe that all atheists come to their conclusion through rationality. Not once did I say that. In fact, in my video, I mentioned that. In fact, I think you showed it in your video. No, that is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, in this specific instance, we came to our conclusions using data. Not all of us, obviously the ones who did. You did not. I changed my argument based on, basically this is what it comes down to. I'm going to quote Tim Minchin. Science changes its views based on what's observed. Faith is the denial of observations so that belief can be preserved. You have faith. Faith, by definition, is belief regardless or in spite of the evidence. As long as you have faith, I will not even consider you in the realm of rationality. Not because I think I'm better than you, but because even if I become best friends with you, I'm sorry. Your faith disqualifies you for calling yourself rational in this one specific instance. I see now that you seem like a much more rational person than I thought you were. But I am sorry, my friend. If I was racist, I could not claim to be rational in the realm of race. I just couldn't. It doesn't matter how much science I throw at you. That's, scientific reductionism, not actual science. Your claims about faith have been debunked. It's not just a matter of opinion. No, it isn't. One of us is right, and there is ways to figure out which one is right, and the other one doesn't want to admit that they're wrong, or for whatever reason cannot accept that they're wrong. If you just don't want to admit then you're wrong, then you're intellectually dishonest. I'm sorry, I'm not talking about you right now. If you cannot admit that you're wrong, then you have cognitive dissonance management. This is something that is inextricable in faith because it's partial in the definition of faith. And I don't mean the one sentence definition in the dictionary. I mean the expanded definition that we all philosophically understand to be religious faith. Watch Bionic Dance's videos on faith. I think those are her best videos, the ones where she's specifically talking about faith. I'm with her on that. I am against faith. And no, I will never, until you give me empirical data or maybe non-empirical data, maybe supernatural data, but it has to be something that is unique to Christianity, 1, theism, 2, and monotheism, 3. You have to prove all 3. The default position is disbelief. If you want to have this debate, we most certainly can. But I am 100% right, and you are 100% wrong. Not because I'm smarter than you. I'm probably not. Not because I'm more rational than you. I'm probably not. There's a difference between something being right because of evidence and such, or intuitively right, and something being right by definition. Faith is not rational by definition. The definition of faith is the belief in spite of or regardless of the evidence, my friend. I am so sorry, but as long as you have faith, and I'm not talking about confidence faith, I'm talking about the difference between believing your mother's not going to stab you to death for no reason, based on experience, and believing that she's a messiah. Yes, even if you had an experience that shows that she's the messiah in terms of like a vision, unless it's repeatable, you are not confident faith. If I saw a dinosaur walking down the street, I would not assume that it was real. I would assume that I'm mentally ill or that I'm just having a conniption or something. I'm not going to go anymore because I want to give you a chance to respond, and it's discourteous of me to make a 40-minute video without breaking it up. So I'm going to stop now. I apologize. I stand by what I said, and I think you're wrong. I'm so sorry. But until my next video, try to make the world a better place, and I will too.